Hey, 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 Letitia here for another episode of the Encourage Over Everything show. Hey. And after last week's episode, I got the same question from a few people asking, how do you actually work through complaints? Don't worry, I have a nice little framework for you because I know that it's not easy to go from complaining to compliments. So let's get into how to actually work through your complaints. First things first, to complain is to remain. I don't know who said it, but truer words were never spoken. If you want to remain inside the problem, just keep complaining because complaining is not going to solve a thing. So, knowing that to complain is to remain, how you actually work through the complaints is so important. So, you know me, whip out your journal and let's get into a few questions that you can journal yourself through to really get down to the root of what it is that you are really complaining about. Because the thing about complaints is they're often very surface level. It is the irritation, the annoyance currently of the day, but it isn't actually the real issue. So, how do you get to that? Let's get into it. That just keep lying around. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know I tell you, your journal is your bestie who always wants to hear from you. It is your sacred place where you can get some time and some space away from all of the things that are running through your mind. Because once you get them out of your mind and onto paper, suddenly the weight starts to feel so much lighter. Journal about what it is that you have serious complaint about and really just let it all out because sometimes you just need a little time and space to gain a new perspective. You might realize, you know what? This isn't really that serious. I was just feeling some type of way because of XYZ. So once you give yourself just the freedom to get it all out, express all of your complaints, and give them another place to live instead of just cooped up in your mind, running around on repeat, that is going to help you gain a newfound perspective of what it is that you're actually complaining about. Next, you can look at, is this valid or not? I mean, let's be honest. Do you just want to complain to complain? Like, is this just another exhibit of why you have this issue? Because sometimes we want exhibit A through Z, honey, on why this is an issue. So, are you just looking to add more fuel to your complaints? So, be honest with yourself. It's okay if you are in that space. The key is to be aware of where you are because you may not even be in a place where you're really ready to reconcile. Maybe you just need to sit in your pettiness for a moment. I'm just going to put that out there. Is it valid or not? Because if it's not valid, then you can just leave it where it's at and move forward. But if there is even an ounce of validity to it, then it's time to explore that because now you can get to the real issue that is underlying all of the surface complaints that you have. Because sometimes what we're really upset about is the principalities behind it. It's the principles, it's your values. It could be your boundaries that are currently being crossed, and that is why you are really upset. So, this is the time to really get clear on what it is that your real issue is. If you value honesty and you feel as if honesty has left the building, or maybe you have a boundary about the voice level that someone is allowed to talk to you and you don't want to be yelled at, And if that boundary is being crossed, you need to be able to explain that. And in really getting to this place, this is where you can really get clear on what it is that is really, truly bothering you and upsetting you, instead of just unleashing the complaints onto someone. Because after a while, the complaints, they just cause someone to tune out. They're not really listening, they're not really hearing what you're saying. And then you become a broken record and you feel as if you're just constantly complaining about all of the same things. When really, if you can just get down to what the issue truly is and you can work forward from that place, that's going to move you to solution so much faster. It also helps to de-escalate your emotions, because so often when we are in the complaining zone, you might be pissed off to the highest level of festivity. You might be so annoyed and irritated that it's the tone in which you are speaking at that's causing someone to then tune you out, because then they're more focused on your attitude or your tone than they are the actual points that you're making. So if you want your points to be heard and understood, it is the way in which you decide to communicate those things. So really getting clear on what your actual issues are, what boundaries have been crossed, what values you feel have been violated or disrespected, that is where you're really going to be able to move forward with some real solution. That is where you'll be in a place to actually move forward and towards a better reconciliation. We all know communication is the key. And if you can de escalate the emotions so that you can really truly give voice to your values and your boundaries, that's where your power is. That's where your clear and concise communication lives. It is from that place that you can actually mend your communication and build that bridge to understanding. Every disconnect is really an opportunity to reconnect to yourself and others. This may just be an opportunity that you realize how important something is to you. Maybe it wasn't so important before, but now that you're in this situation, you realize how important a certain value is. You realize how important it is for someone to talk to you with respect. You realize how important it is for someone to be honest with you and just tell you the truth so that you can make an educated decision based off of that. Sometimes these are the awakenings that you need to recognize something new in you. So allow every disconnect to lead you to greater, more deeper, more meaningful connection with yourself and others, because it's not always about the other person. Sometimes there's something new in you that it's time for you to recognize and make some shifts and adjustments for. So use every disconnect as an opportunity to reconnect with yourself and the people that you love. I hope that this quick and simple framework can really help you. Really journal about this. Give yourself a little time and some space, journal about this, and see if there's something new that sparked up in you. And really use it as an opportunity to connect to yourself and the people that you love. I can't wait to hear how this has worked for you. So make sure that if you are listening on Spotify, answer the poll. And if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, because I have lots of goodies coming up just like this. Because I want to help you in your relationships, because we need each other. We need connection. We need more meaningful, deeper relationships, because that is truly where we thrive the most. I want to help you level up your life, love, relationships, and everything in between, honey. So encourage over your complaints, because they definitely need some encouragement up in this piece. Because together we can encourage over everything. Sending love.